Net Builders, thanks for joining us for another great episode. Today we have a great guest by the name of Anthony Obas. He's over in New York, so we got a 3-hour time difference, but he was gracious enough to bless us with his knowledge today, his presence, and we're going to get some great value from him. And I'm going to leave the floor over to you, Anthony. And can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Shout outs to the Net Builder platform. Shout outs to y'all. One love, all the appreciate. I always got to throw in one love as well too. My name is Anthony Obas. I'm from New York, brand manager, event curator, author, enthusiast. I got the energy. What more do you need? Author, Shifting Your Music into Career Volume 1. Now going on 2 years of the book, and my role in what I do now is now focusing on how do we get artists, creatives paid? How do we transition them? Not, making a sustainable income, right? Making sure, like, if it's $60,000, how can we live off of $60,000, right? And that's basically where my model is right now. And I do also have, I just rediscovered that, not rediscovered, but I also have a love for education, right? And just talking about the idea of how we need to reform and kind of change, education. So I'm very focusing on kind of the transition from high school into college and kind of inspiring a lot of those young, students to encourage entrepreneurship as well too. So, I like I said, I'm everywhere, but it all makes sense.
Oh, I love it, man. I love it. I love his energy. Like, you guys could feel that energy through the camera right now. Like it's pumping me up. Like, honestly.
We gotta go. It's a different year. It's a different time period. Like, I haven't felt this good. I haven't felt this well in a very, very long time. It's because that I'm doubling down on myself. I'm betting on myself. And when you are becoming an entrepreneur, when you really are, getting into that process, you start to value your time. And I am valuing my time so much now, and making sure that every time I wake up each morning, work out, get good food, maybe spend time with family, hit up a couple creatives, hit up some, applications, and figure out what moves make sense for my brand. Like, this is a long battle. It's tough, right? I just graduated college last year. Shout outs to Syracuse.
Congrats.
Thank you. I just graduated. Yeah, we don't throw no free promo for Syracuse, but I'm just saying, I'm at Syracuse. I feel good. I feel right. This is the first time in my 23 years, that everything makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I'm moving at my own pace, and I'm avoiding the judgment of the world, right? I am. People are saying that I'm supposed to have a 9 to 5. People are saying that you're supposed to work, and you have to be able to work with something that you're passionate. I've been reading this book called Outwitting the Devil. And it's a very good, and not to get so sidetracked, but it has everything to do with my vibe right now. It's like, when there's a hysteria, when there's fear, when there's no money coming in, we start to take jobs and opportunities that are not right for where we need to be at. And I'm turning down those opportunities. Now I'm taking jobs that are flexible, that allow me to be flexible with my time, but I'm still focusing on, my books, focusing on event curation and stuff like that. So that's why I have so much enthusiasm now, because now I'm taking the time and understanding time is valuable. The money will come, but put the time in, the money will come. Like, I got paid this weekend, my bank account got hit with $50 randomly, and then I got hit with 35 from an article. Like, that's $85 I just made in one day because I just did nothing, right? That's great, and I want to keep doing that, right? So yeah, that's why I'm in a good mood today.
I love it. I love it. So, one of my favorite books, and a lot of the things that you're saying, it's bringing up a book I read by Robert Kiyosaki. You probably know Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Poor Dad. Yes, 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 yes.
Love it. And a lot of your philosophy, it sounds like, when you stop chasing that money, it's gonna start coming to you. You're providing value to your clients, and you're just checking your bank account and 35, 45, 50. Why? Because you provide the value. You stop chasing that money, and that fear a lot of people have of being broke forces them to automatically take the first job that they get offered. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, a lot of our college students, they get out and they can't get into the field that they went to school for, so they accept the janitorial position or something that they didn't study for, and they get stuck there.
Get stuck there, right? And like I said, I graduated out of college, and then I was supposed to be doing, I wanted to do business development. I still love business development, and I
Mm-hmm.
got into college counseling. And again, I found that position was fulfilling. It was dope. It was good. But when we look, I like college counseling. I like that aspect of it. But I don't, structural wise and organizational wise, and I felt kind of burnt out, and my creativity was getting, not to say it was stagnant, but it was hard for me to think. It was hard for me to be on my toes,
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did get gigs, speaking gigs at, DePaul University, Nazareth College, and University of Albany, back at Syracuse as well too. And some of these were paid gigs as well too, and people bought the book, which is dope. I'm still able to push whatever I need to push, but it's about maximizing the time. Like, and I looked at back at my targets and goals for 2021, and it was not as filling as 2020, 2019, when I had the time, the leisure, and I was dived down and focused, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm emphasizing, if there's one thing I don't want, if there's something that I'm strong passionate about, is like, pick something that you have interest in. Don't just settle because you're trying to get, $50,000. You're trying to get the benefits. You're trying to get, like, yeah, it's gonna come, but you gotta keep working. This is the time where college students who are just recently graduated, focus on your craft, focusing on being at your best self, right?
Mm-hmm. And I one there's two things I love that you said. So I'm gonna rewind a little bit to the beginning
Go ahead.
when you talked about your transition, that transition you made from high school to college, and then from college out into the world. A lot of people are, it's preached, it's told, it's traditional for you to go get that, go to school, go to college, get a 9 to 5, work, pay off college loans forever, maybe retire at 65. It's like embedded into us.
Right.
What made you say, I'm gonna go that way?
I mean, like for me, it's like, so I always go back to an experience in 2019, right? I just released the book, and I was planning on, I did an unpaid internship in DC.
Uh-huh.
And again, I didn't do research in DC. I didn't do any of that. I just said, you know what, bet I'm just gonna go. And I went to DC, and I was working with this company, and it was unpaid again. And DC is expensive. DC is like, it runs up the bill. Like, if we have to talk about most expensive cities that I've had a chance to like experience, and whatever, I have to say DC is up there. It's, for me, is DC. LA is kind of like up there, but it's not as bad as DC in my eyes. Like, DC is just bad to me. Um, it's just bad. And yeah, so DC, went down there, unpaid internship. I couldn't really figure out how to sell my books. And I was just, my pockets were getting drained, and I was maxing out my pocket. And I'm just like, I'm doing the same thing that I really like to do for a company that's not even paying me. Why am I down here? Like, why? And at that point, I called my mom. I was like, Mom, I'm coming back to the city for the summer. I'm not gonna be able to find a job. Like, I'm not gonna be able to find a job, but at least I got the house. I'm in the city. I can work. I can sell the books. I can do this. And I was telling my mom, like, listen, I got a credit card right now. I'm about to max it out on this one event called the Meetup. I don't care. I'm doubling down on myself. I gotta figure out a way to do this, sell books, move around, whatever. And we did the Meetup in 2019, and again, this was the second time we did it, but the impact was there, right? The impact was there, and people loved it. People turned out. We had video, press, like, everybody turned. That was a good time. We didn't make as much. We didn't make a big net profit, but the impact was there, right? And it just showed me that I needed to double down on myself. And once after I started doing that, I went back up to Q's again. I only had $20 on my debit card. $30 on my credit card. Again, still trying to figure out how to pay off all this debt and all this other stuff. I was working at, so I looked up a temp, I got sent a temp job. I got sent a temp job. A temp job hit me up. I was able to do a temp job real quick for marketing survey, which I generally liked. It was a great thing. It was only for 5 hours, but it was quick money. You know what I mean? Like that's the hustle right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I was able to, get some money back in my credit card, my debit card. My credit card started, I started to take, duck down and start to realize like there's certain things I don't need to, do. I need to start being more cost effective. If I'm going to go down this route, because I already pivoted to not do this. If I'm going to do this, I got to be cost effective. I have to be strategic. And when I started doing that, it just became a sense of beauty. 2019, during the pandemic, in the pandemic, like still this pandemic, like we're still doing what we need to do. We're being cost effective, we're being strategic. And, I can't ask for anything more. So that was the transition, 2019.
I love that. And that's actually what you teach creatives, is that cost effectiveness, that management, that strategic movement with their money and what they're doing, because
Yeah.
yeah, when I first started my business, I'll be when I started my first business, which a lot of people here probably don't know, my first business sunk. It
Right.
sunk. And it was I had an idea and I went forward and I threw as much money as I could at it. I just
Right.
and
And
that
that's
doesn't do anything.
right. And you're gonna, and the thing is, what's stopping you from doing, like, you failed at your first business, but now you got a new business now, right? Which is this network, right? So it's like, what's stopping you from being a creative? Just because one business failed does not mean it stops you from being a creative,
Mhm.
right? And that's basically my business model. Is like, for me, my brain was so focused on the music game, but when the pandemic hit, the music industry got messed up completely.
Mhm.
Oh my God, it got torn apart, and it's still recovering.
Yeah.
Um, and I can't sit here and be a one single-handed creative. So now I'm like moving into more figuring out education, right? How can I have the music game still there, but now I have education, right? And my main focus is motivating students now into like, okay, how do we get high school students into college for a good price? How do we make sure that they're not, because one of the biggest steps to really getting a bright future is making sure that you're going to college for the right price, not
Mhm.
and maximize the value, but making sure that you get it for the right price, right? So my strategy now is on top of just the music game, but now my strategy now is, okay, how do we penetrate these high schools and how do we penetrate some of these colleges and bridge the gap and really motivate these students who are rising 12th graders to really continue to go into college? And how are we creating a curriculum to make sure that we are up to date with all those kids that are going into college and making sure that their 4 years is a great time financially, academically, and socially? Because one of the biggest things that I've struggled with in my college when I was going through the mental health, right?
Mhm.
The academics, right? The social aspect, and if we can create a system like that, with public speaking, I think that works, right? That works,
Mhm.
so
Especially from coming from somebody who's actually been through it, they
yeah.
could sit there and listen to a bunch of people in suits all day, but they're gonna go right back the next day and be like, all right, that was a complete waste of my time. But to be able to
Right.
hear it from somebody that's experienced it, I think that would make a huge impact, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
also the financial of it, because that's something that, let's face it, that's something that's never taught. It's never taught through.
Never thought.
Yeah, it's not taught at all. They just tell you to put your money in a savings account, which you make nothing in. The banks make a bunch of money because they're a
Right.
business.
Yeah, and it's crazy. And we gotta change. Like I said, my biggest thing is about changing the vernacular, changing the way we think, and changing the way we talk. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm changing the way we talk, and I'm trying to live that life. And yes, it's tough. I mean, I check my bank account every 10 minutes and be like, I need another $45 to hit today. But I'm not pressed. I don't have a lot of expenses. I'm blessed that I have a lot of expenses on me. And all the expenses I do have is now adding up to where I need to be at. I'm doubling down on myself, and that's where we at.
Okay, well, let's talk about the book a little bit. You mentioned it a couple of times. Let's talk about the book.
Yeah. So shifting your music into career volume one, I tell people this all the time. It's an intro to the music industry, right? It talks about branding, it talks about streaming, social media, crowdfunding, and it's really an introduction. But really, the purpose of the book is really to, it's 46 pages long. It took me about a year and a half to finish it, right? People be like, it's only 46 pages, is light, but there was a lot of chapters I couldn't include. I was originally thought about just dropping the whole book at one time, but I was like, no, let's keep the volumes going because I'm trying to keep you with my story, with my experience, like riding with me. Like these are the things I learned throughout my journey. So that's volume one. Volume one is just an intro to me and is an intro to creatives to now. Let's stop undervaluing ourselves. Let's stop that.
Mhm.
Let's stop that for a second. Let us begin to really, and I use music, but I realize that everybody has figured, like film, people that does photography and all this other stuff. People have picked up the book and said, you know what? I got to stop undervaluing myself. I need to now figure out a way to monetize off of my creativity. If I
Yes.
really want to make this as a full business, you have to have the mentality. And that's what volume one is really about, changing our mentality to say, you know what? I'm going to invest in this. So when anytime that someone invests $10, it's a restatement of that $10 is a investment to say I'm going to shift my mindset into making sure my creativity, my art is getting monetized at its full capacity.
Mm. And yo, and that's amazing. That's amazing. That works for, like you said, so many different industries and so many different types of people because we're taught to be valued for what the market determines us to be
Right.
valued. Well, that's that. I mean, essentially, that's what a 9 to 5 is. You're getting paid what your boss told you that you're worth, and you're working for time and not the value that you bring.
Exactly, exactly. Which doesn't make sense. Which don't make sense.
At all. At
No.
all. It makes no sense at all. You could uh work at Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell, but you could work at Taco Bell and you could bust your butt all day just working for 8 hours straight. You took your lunch and you didn't even take your 15-minute break, but you're just working, and you get paid that $12 an hour. Meanwhile, your best friend slept half of the shift in the freezer, the deep freezer. Ethan Fernandez. Now he's still getting paid that same $12 an hour that you're getting paid, but you work the whole time.
Exactly.
Should the guy who just gave more value to the customers get paid more? But you don't have that in the regular workspace, and the boss is rarely there enough to see who's doing what. You're both clocked in, so you're
Right.
getting paid off of your time, not the value. And I love what your book stands for. And where can we get that book? Because I would love to read it.
Yeah, it's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Lulu.com, on my website with a couple of presentations that I've done with those colleges. And like I said, like that's where we're talking about. And again, this is, and you buying the book, you don't even have to be in the music game, but it's a testament, it's a testimony for you and yourself. And, for you mostly because it's like, okay, I am now taking that point to monetize off my creativity, right? I'm going to stop saying this company, I'm gonna get so short, right? You're figuring out so many different models, right? To monetize off your creativity. For me as an author, I just found out something amazing this weekend was like this thing called it's called Books Read. It's like an independent website. I totally forget. I'm getting the name of the website wrong. But basically, in a website is if you're an author, you can put your work on their website. Cool. And if people buy it strictly off the website, you get a bigger turnout and payout. I was like, oh, cool, that works. But here's another thing. They've decided to, put something called the influential marketing, which is the idea of if people were to purchase your recommended books, but you get 10% off that book that people purchase. I said, what? So I
Wow.
basically can create a whole library of books, right? With including my books and my works, and us to say, okay, this is what I recommend for people that's doing X, Y, and Z, and boom, 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 that I have read. I think it's good to either purchase it like that, like that. The second someone makes a purchase, I get 10 to 15% of that income. So I'm like,
Wow.
so again, this is the time for you to really figure out a way to monetize off of your creativity and your time. I'm working on getting a right now. I'm working on getting a background check for being a substitute teacher. Basically, it's a strictly an app that works with the Department of Education, partner schools within New York City, and basically, whenever someone needs a substitute teacher, you basically click on your shift and you could work at that school from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. and you get a check at the end of the week.
Huh.
You see what I'm saying? So there is a lot of ways for us to monetize off of our creativity, but also be able to value our time. And
Yes.
that's why that's my book right there.
And also and with that goes is that residual income to where if that money is being made even when you're not working.
Yes,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? I love that part.
I love, and make the money work for you, right?
Mm.
When, I got hit this weekend. I was at the bar and I was like, oh my God, like I'm buying drinks for myself and it's like 37. And I just look up and I'm like, I just need something to hit me real quick, like a little cash. And then somebody hit me with $35 for an article I wrote for them. I was like, let's go. I needed that. All you got to do is ask. But again, it comes with understanding and really putting a price to your creativity. And like I said, if people are not willing to pay for it, there's definitely people that will pay for it. So
People are always someone's always going to pay for it. I mean, if you're providing
exactly.
value, somebody in this world needs what you're providing.
Exactly. And if that's not, and I always say to people, just because they don't want that one thing from you now, they're gonna get it later because you're gonna keep coming out with products and services that eventually, basically, I've always talked about this, is this way of jumping a customer. Basically, if they don't want one product or service you have, you gotta be like a Walmart or one of those big warehouses and keep offering so many different products at them in their face that eventually one product is going to get them, and that's how you get the sale.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. And that goes a lot with the marketing too, you know what I
Yes.
mean? And
Right.
that was one big mistake that I made with my first company. Oh man, I target marketing and marketing was not in my vocabulary at all. I wanted to promote to everybody, but that
Right.
costs more time, that costs more money, and I had no demographic or anything like that. So I think that goes along with a lot what you said. If you get in front of the right customer, like they might not want this or that right then and there, but there's going to be something that they want and they're all in that same target, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
yeah. Um how how um how this is a off question, I think, but I
Mhm.
think it's still within the realm of what we're talking about. I wanted to ask, how do you go about a business plan? Or do you actually follow a business plan, or you kind of
So,
just jot
so,
down stuff?
so for me, I do follow a business plan, and to a degree, my business plan is not regimental. What I mean by that, it's like it is very tentative and it's very subject to change. Like,
Gotcha.
and it changes almost every single 3 months, month, six. It depends on the experience and it depends on the needs that I see. So for me, my business model is guided by Obas, which is an artist management, brand development company that looks to take ideas from various different creatives and stuff like that and turn it into a sustainable, profitable, product or service. So it's business development, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
But now I realize that, okay, business development, I could change business development and do artist development. Okay, cool. That works. Now I change my business model to now artist development to now more about young adult development, right? Now my business is all about guided by Obas. I'm taking myself as a brand and you're walking with me through guidance. So I've changed my revenue model completely ever since the pandemic hit. Like my revenue model was we got to do events, we got to sell books. That was my only revenue. But then I realized, okay, cool, I can do public speaking at colleges. They'll pay. That worked. Boom, add that as a revenue. I can be a substitute teacher here. Boom, add that as a revenue. It's like being a substitute teacher is nothing but just babysitting in my eyes, personally. I don't want to be that guy, but it's just like you do a good job, they'll star you, they'll give you 5 stars. Cool, that allows you to pick up more gigs, right? Um, this influential marketing with the author situation. I figured out that as well too. In terms of product, I thought only books that I would be able to do. But now, I had a big revelation on Friday after an amazing event. My friend did, and I helped her do it. Like, I invested some money, and she gave me double the profit back. Double the investment back, because
Okay.
that's amazing to me. So I was up all night Friday to Saturday, even Saturday during the day, and so many ideas was fluctuating. I was like, I got new products I can really sell now if I really want to kill the game. So now I've looked at new products, it's still on brand, but again, I've changed my revenue. I've changed my cost structure, right? A ton, right? I used to have an office space that I used to pay $25 a month for. Now that, my mom's house is kind of like less people there, I kind of transferred a complete room into an office space. Don't need to pay $25 a month, right?
Yes.
Cutting off on some certain subscriptions, right? I've also changed my target audience, right? I thought my audience was mostly just musicians. Now I'm changing it to musicians, to filmmakers, to photographers, to now even young adults as well too. So my business model, I do have one that is very, structured as well too. I guess my executive summary is still there. My background history is still there. But the value proposition, the segment, my key partners, activities, like that nine, model of business that they usually have, it changes because it just shifted. It shifted completely during this time. So yeah.
I think it's great that you were able to make that shift and pivot during COVID, talk to a lot of business owners, and a lot of them, oh man, they were so stuck within what they wanted to do that when COVID hit and stopped them, they were like, well, it's all or nothing. If I can't do exactly what I planned on doing, then I quit.
I quit, or I'm not gonna like, either you adapted or you didn't. It's one of
Yeah.
the other. And I was in a huge slump my first 4 months, 5 months, just trying to figure it out. But I gotta say, like, those first, if I didn't take those first 4 to 5 months, just talking to people, networking, using Clubhouse, hopping on Zooms like this, hopping on group chats, and just having that space to kind of flush out some ideas and stuff like that, I would not be my business model would not be changed. You know what I mean? Like, it would not be changed. So, for those who didn't adapt, I hope that your business, does well, I guess. But for those who adapted, you're going miles and miles away. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the way I love because my our tagline for net builders, I didn't know if you knew, is
mm,
net worth through networking.
yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Because a lot of people do not understand the power of networking. Like, networking is there's so many. Me personally, I'm an introvert, so
Hmm.
that's why this is such a this I actually created net builders to try to break that introversy. So by talking to people.
Right.
So
Oh,
but I didn't realize the power that networking had. Like, through networking, I've been able to do so much, meet with so many different people, come up with so many different partnerships, and it's just sitting down having conversations with people. And it's
right.
amazing. It's
Hmm.
amazing what it can do for your business. So if you guys are not networking, if you guys are not, and there's no excuse. There's no excuse for you not to. There's so many Facebook groups, and like, you don't even have to pay for it. If you're doing something, look for the group, get in there, talk to people. It's
It's like, I do the same. I have a lot of groups on Facebook that I don't even use Facebook to post my stuff. I go on these groups. I'm like, hey, everybody, got a new blog. This is helpful. Boom, drop it. Boom.
That's
People
it.
will talk. People done.
That's it. And I love that you said got a new blog, and automatically you're not reaching in there. Hey, I'm selling you stuff. You're saying I'm providing you value.
That's it. I'm providing you the value. If you want to read it, sure. If you don't want to read it, that's okay. I'm just promoting myself in this group chat. That's it.
That's it, man. It is so simple. I don't understand what's so hard about that concept. I have no idea why it's so hard. I mean, I guess at one point at a time I had that problem too, but now I'm looking back and I'm like, idiot. Like,
Oh.
yeah, it's amazing, man. I'm gonna definitely have your link inside of the description. You guys definitely check it out. Can you give them the link one more time?
Yeah, definitely. So for if you want to stay in tune with me, Anthony Obas, you can find me Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Like it's literally my name, Anthony Obas. I don't hide anything. Like everything that's out there, it's me. That's me being a true, genuine brand. To purchase Shifting Your Music into a Career Volume One, you can go to Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Lulu.com, my website, www.guidedbyobas.net as well too. Yeah, and read up some of my blogs on Medium as well too.
Outstanding. Well, Anthony, thank you for having. I mean, sorry, thank you for being on here today. I really
Thank you for
appreciate it.
having me. Okay.
I love the energy. I love what you're doing out here, and I actually tell you the truth, I'd like to follow up with you in a couple of months and just have another conversation on here because I know you're gonna have a bunch more value and experiences, and I would love to have you on here again, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And next time, like I said, I'm planning on trying to be in Cali very, very soon. Because I just came back there in July and it was very refreshing to be out there. So if I'm back there, we're definitely linking for
Oh,
sure.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. All right. Hey, Net Builders, thanks for joining us again. Like I promised, this was going to be a great episode, and I'm sure we delivered. I'm sure we delivered. So, so until next time, you guys take care. Keep networking. Keep building your business.
Bless.